Welcome back to Melody Guitar Book 1. This is a free course designed to help you read and play melodies in standard music notation. I'm offering this book for free. It's on my website. I'll leave a link in the description. This lesson covers pages 7 and 8. You're going to learn your first three notes, the E, F, and G, and some music reading basics. As you get started, this is a perfect time to establish some good habits. So make sure your guitar is straight up and down as you play. Make sure your left thumb is behind the fretboard, not underneath, and make sure you're holding your pick between your thumb and your first finger. At the top of page 7, we have our first three notes, the E, F, and G. Before we get to those, I want to talk about the music staff. These notes are all written on the music staff, these 5 lines and 4 spaces. A common misconception among guitar players is that those lines are strings, but they do not represent strings. That would be tab notation. Instead, the music staff has notes written on the lines or in the spaces. And the higher the notes appear in the staff, the higher they sound, and the lower notes appear lower in the staff. That symbol at the beginning of the staff is called a treble clef. The treble clef is for higher sounding instruments, and there's also a bass clef for lower sounding instruments. As guitar players, we're mostly going to be reading music in treble clef. The first note you're going to learn to read and play is the note E. In the music staff, it's the top space, and it's played with the first string open, or no fingers down. That's what open means. Remember, our first string is the small string, and the sixth string is the big string. The next note is the note F, and we can see this F is on the top line of the staff. It's played on the first string, first fret, first finger. And remember, when you place your notes on a fret, you don't place them directly on the fret. That gets you kind of a clunky sound. It's just to the left of the fret, so you're barely touching it. Now when I play, I'm playing with my fingertips. I don't want to play with the flat of my fingers. I want to play with my fingertips. The fingertip is going to give you a better sound, and as we get into more and more notes, there are going to be times when you're going to want to touch a string somewhere in the middle without touching the strings around it, and that's a lot easier to do when you're playing on your fingertips. The next note is the note G. This is on the first string, third fret, third finger. And again, I'm not directly on the fret, I'm just to the side of the fret. It's important to play this G with your third finger. Now when you're playing slowly, you could use whatever finger you want. But once you get to the point where you're playing faster, it's a lot easier to play fast going from G to F if you have one finger on the F and another finger on the G. And notice if we go left to right, E, F, and G, each note sounds a little higher. E, F, G, and in the music staff, those notes appear just a little higher every time. And some general technique tips. I already mentioned placing your finger to the left of the fret and not directly on top, because that gets a little clunky sound. I also mentioned keeping your left-hand fingers curved and playing with the tips of your fingers. You also want to press firmly down on the strings. Now, if your thumb is properly placed behind the fretboard, you can squeeze between the fingers and the thumb rather than just trying to press down with your fingers. Written music is divided into small sections called measures. Those measures are marked by these vertical lines called bar lines. And the end of the music is marked by a final bar line, this thick and thin bar line. The space between each bar line is called a measure. So measure 1, measure 2, measure 3, and measure 4. These are quarter notes. A quarter note has a stem and a note head that's filled in, and the stem can point up or down, it doesn't matter. The quarter note lasts for 1 beat. So if I'm tapping my foot to the music, or my metronome is clicking to the music, a quarter note is 1 beat. So right there I was playing quarter notes because I was playing with every beat. At the bottom of page 7, we have our first exercise. You're going to be playing quarter note E's, F's, and G's. Before you play this, I'd like you to finish writing the note names in the blanks above each note. I've started this out, so the first note is an E, and then you can see the rest of those notes in that first measure are all E's. And then we have F. The rest of those notes are F's in that measure. And in measure 3, that's G, and then the rest of them are also G's in that measure. Measure 4, I did not label those notes, but those 4 notes appear on the top line, and that's going to be your F. And the last 4 notes are going to be E's. So make sure you write those in your music. When you play the exercise, I'd like you to sing the note names as you play. This is a really good way to learn how to read and play these notes. Make sure you're keeping a steady beat. I'm going to be using a metronome, so we keep a steady beat, and play your F's with first finger, play your G's with your third finger. And finally, I'd like you to make sure you're picking downward on every note. As we start to learn how to play faster, we'll also be picking upward, but for now, play down, down, down all the time. 1, 2, ready, play. So we just talked about measures and bar lines on page 7. On page 8, we're looking at time signatures. A time signature tells you how many beats are in the measure. This time signature is called 4/4 time. You just list the numbers from top to bottom. So this is called 4/4 time. The top number of a time signature tells you how many beats are in each measure, and the bottom number tells you what kind of note gets the beat. That 4 at the bottom of 4/4 stands for a quarter note. So you're going to see 4 quarter notes per measure if you have 4/4 time. The time signature appears at the very beginning of your music, and there it is right there, 4/4 time, 4 beats per measure, quarter note gets the beat, and we can see that there are 4 quarter notes in that measure. Underneath each note, I wrote the beat number, beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. At the bottom of page 8, we have exercise number 2. What I'd like you to do is circle the time signature, so circle that 4/4 time, and then finish writing the note names above the staff as you did in exercise 1. I would also like you to finish writing the beat numbers in the blanks below the staff. And the beats are going to start over with each measure. You're not going to number every single beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so forth. You're going to number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to play the melody, sing the note names as you play. That's a great way to learn them. And check yourself. Make sure you're holding your pick with your thumb and your first finger. Your left hand thumb is behind the neck. And make sure you're holding your guitar straight up and down. And finally, pick downward on every single note. 1, 2, ready, play. E, 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 F, 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 G, 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 F, 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 E, 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 E. Now that may seem slow to you. That was 60 beats per minute. If you want to play faster, get a metronome and put it on a faster tempo. Exercise number 3 is in 3/4 time. So now we're going to be counting 3 beats per measure. What I'd like you to do is circle the time signature in exercise 3. So circle the 3/4 time. Write the note names above the staff. Finish writing out the beat numbers in the blanks below the staff. So now you're going to be counting the beats 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 all the time. And then practice the melody, sing the note names as you play. I'm going to stop singing while I play because I want you to hear the guitar and not my voice. But if you sing or say the notes as you play, that's really going to help you learn these notes. And of course, check your posture, check your left hand, check your right hand. And always pick downwards when you're playing quarter notes. 1, ready, play. E, F, 2, 3, G with third finger, F, E. Your assignment for this lesson is to practice exercises 2 and 3 on page 8. Make sure you sing or say the note names as you play. That's a really, really good way to learn these notes. And now is a good time to establish good playing positions, so hold your guitar straight up and down. Make sure your thumb is behind the fretboard, and make sure you're holding your pick between your thumb and your first finger. Also, keep a steady beat all the time. You can either play along with the video to practice keeping a steady beat, or you can get yourself a metronome and play to the metronome. Practice these exercises until you're comfortable with the music, and then when you're ready, I will see you on page 9.